Mac Kentucky Range Time, back with another episode of our ballistic gel block testing. And this episode is going to be a little bit different than my normal. So I will be testing some factory ammunition today, and that doesn't happen very often. But when Bear Creek Ballistics reaches out and says, would you be interested in trying out some of our new 165 grain AR platform, all copper bullets, you don't tell them no. So anyway, big shout out to Bear Creek Ballistics for sending these in. They sent a box of 20 loaded rounds, and they also sent a box of 50 of the bullets and a box of 50 Peterson brass, so I can also reload their bullets and do some ladder tests and stuff with those. That will be a follow-up video that will have downloads in that, and we'll have a range chart and velocities listed on there for the downloads that will actually, I'll be able to demonstrate the expansion that you'll get at these longer distances with this bullet. So stay tuned for that follow-up video. It may end up being several weeks to a couple of months after this one, but it will be coming out. So stay tuned for that. Here's a look at the loaded round, and this is the AR profile nose on this. They also make this 165 grain bullet in the HV model, and I think that has maybe a little bit better ballistic coefficient on that bullet. When I looked it up, the only ballistic coefficient I could find listed was a 0.18 G1, and that's what I've got shown on the spreadsheet here at the end of the video. So speaking of the spreadsheet, stay tuned. All the data, the penetration, the velocity, the expansion, all that stuff will be in the spreadsheet here at the end of the video, even for this factory load. So this is my first gel block range test that I have filmed since the end of October. So I had filmed out 3 of the 444 Marlin and a 44 mag video, and then had those edited, had them posted up and scheduled, and then the first and second weeks in November, I ended up getting strikes on my page for the black powder, 50 cal black powder video content that I had done just previously, weeks earlier. So the first strike locked me out for a week, and I was off for a week and couldn't post. Everything scheduled was deleted. I was back for a week. I got the second strike. That locked me out for 2 weeks, and then that 2 weeks started my 90 days. It's how long it takes for a strike to drop off the channel. So I did a quick update video. Basically, I decided not to risk losing the channel by getting that third strike, because the channel's gone after that, guys. There'd be nothing I could do to bring it back or restore it. YouTube does not entertain any appeals or anything. Do not seriously entertain any appeals from gun-related pages. That just doesn't happen. So I got back February 5th. The second strike dropped off, and I started reposting those videos out. I've had the 3 444 Marlin videos posted out since then. I think maybe even a 44 mag video. But needless to say, a week and a half ago, I got another strike for a red dot optic video. It was out of the box and installing the red dot on the Picatinny mount base. That was it. Didn't even show a gun in the video. So the channel is sitting on 1 strike again right now, and if I get up to 2, I'll be taking another break, but hopefully that won't happen. So needless to say, Bear Creek Ballistics sent these to me back in October, late October, early November, and with being off for 3 months, guys, I'm just now getting around to this. So this bullet had just released when they sent it to me last fall, and I really wish I'd been able to get this out sooner, but here we go. So it's coming up next. I did some pictures and some other media content on Instagram and Facebook with this, but this is the first test out on YouTube with this bullet from me. They also have come out with a 180 grain, or getting ready to come out with a 180 grain version of this bullet too. So hopefully I'll be able to pick up some of those from Bear Creek and get them tested as well. All right, guys, real quick, there's an information tab up here that will take you to my affiliate website, so go check that out if you get a chance. Anything you do there, shopping wise, will generate a small commission that comes back to the page, and I appreciate all that. And that's what helps offset the cost of the gel block and everything else. Going forward, I have a few more funds now than I have had in the past, and I hope to be able to purchase new gel blocks at a faster rate than what I did before. I'm trying to add several platforms, calibers into the test series, so it's offsetting the gel block versus getting a 45 Colt. That's one that's coming up. I want to get a short barrel revolver, medium to long barrel revolver, and at least a lever action. Have 3 different barrel lengths when I start the 45 Colt test. And so how frequently I drop $100 a pop for a ballistic gel block versus, that slows down how fast I can move on to these other calibers. But if things go well, that is my hope, is to be able to cycle these blocks out a little bit quicker as they start getting cloudier, so we can see things a little bit better. So, all right, let's go look at this test. All right, guys, so like I said previously, Creek Ballistics has sent us the new 400 Legend ammo that they put out, and this is February, and this actually came out last fall, back in I think in November, and they reached out to see if I would be interested in doing a gel block test with this, and I'm like, absolutely. I'd also like to reload some of that bullet. So they sent me a 20 round box of the 165 grain, I think that's the HV bullet, polymer tip. And they also sent me a box of 50 bullets and 50 pieces of Peterson brass to reload this with. So today's test is just going to be the factory load in gel block, just to see what it does. We'll get a baseline velocity. I'll probably run at least 3 of these to get a baseline. I want to save some of these later to do some accuracy testing at 100 yards. That'll be a follow-up video. So that's what we're doing today, and big shout out to Bear Creek for sending these out, and the other bullets. Now, my plan for the bullets and the Peterson brass is to come up with a book load that I want to use as my max load, and then I'm going to do some downloaded ladders. I'm going to load these down so we can get a look at the expansion at lower velocities. And honestly, guys, I would like to, I'll probably use some lint as filler. I'll get these down hopefully to around 700 to 800 foot per second and using lint as a filler, so I get safe combustion on this and I don't get a flashover on the powder. But that'll give us a graph, once I get that chart done, of exactly what velocities and how far downrange this bullet will expand. And I'm excited about this bullet, guys. I think Bear Creek's onto something else here. I think they also just released now the 180 grain bullet in the 400 Legend. So hopefully at some point I'll be able to pick that one up and do a similar test with it. But let's get going on this. So I have made some changes here to my equipment. Apple did an update back in December, I think, and the Ear Pros that I normally use as my microphone when I'm recording, the Ear Pros, I also bought a set of Axle X cores. Basically, all these Bluetooth type of headphones no longer will function with Apple's camera application. It will not allow the video or the audio from these things, from the microphone built into these, to go to the video when I'm recording. And for studio use, I had bought this set of Rode wireless microphones that you see everybody on YouTube using now, and there's a good reason, guys. These things work really good. But the problem is, and it's not really a problem, but you can't see it now, attached to the iPhone I'm recording with is a 6-inch cord and another receiver the same size as this here that is clipped off to the side of my camera that I'm recording with. So as I move back and forth downrange, I'm going to have to contend with that hanging off the side of my camera while I'm down here looking at the gel block and everything. So something that we'll deal with. The sound quality should be a lot better from here on out if I have to keep doing this, but it's pretty frustrating because these were almost $200, like $178. And I bought these specifically to use as a microphone to record, and the same thing with the axle. I had bought the X cores before I realized that Apple had changed all that. And of course, it's a money thing. Apple, in their latest update, disabled all these other devices from being able to use that. The only thing that you can use now to record the microphone and earpieces together is Apple products. You can use your AirPods. The Beats brand is something that's licensed by Apple. So basically, only the Beats and Apple products are the items that you can use to record videos now and get your audio into your video track on the iPhone as well. So pretty disappointed about that. It's a lot more cumbersome to deal with hearing protection and a separate microphone all the time, but we'll do that. Velocities will be coming on the Garmin ProSero C1. I've got gel block set up at 10 yards, so 30 feet down range. I've got a slow motion camera set up. Hopefully we'll get some good slow motion shots. And I've got I think it's a once reheated gel block, almost brand new piece of gel block up front, so we can get a really good look at the wound track on this. And that's it, guys. This is a new rifle I built back fall right before deer season. It's an Aero Precision upper and lower, Magpul furniture, buttstock, I should say. This is a DFCO, die-free company, pistol grip and forward grip up here. Ballistic Advantage handguard with rail. This is their low-profile version, and this is a E. Arthur Brown Company 400 Legend barrel, and I think this is an 18-inch barrel. So that's it, guys. Got a Wright Optics X5 Tactic scope on here, and that's what we'll be using this. So this is a gas gun. You will be able to get higher velocities from this round out of a single shot, and I do have future plans to add a 16-inch barreled 400 Legend. So we'll have to keep watch for that later on. All right, let's get this thing started. Like I said, this is the first gel block test I've done in over 3 months. I laughed and told the wife earlier I was going to have to go back and watch a couple of my older videos to figure out how I do my gel block test. All right, safety first, guys, safety first. All right, here we go. All right. So, pretty impressive performance out there. I'm glad that block stayed on the table. All right, guys, out of an AR-15 platform, we got 25-11 on that shot. And let's go down, and I'll get the gel block turned back around the way it should have been set. And I think it actually, from the wound track, looked like it's flipped over 180 degrees. We'll get that turned back around, and we'll get some measurements and see what this thing actually did. All right, guys, so entry was right here, and looks like we had really nice expansion up here by about 3/4 to an inch into the block. We've got a fairly large permanent wound cavity here from about an inch down to, let's call it 9 or 10 inches, somewhere in here. Looks like it starts to settle down a little bit. We've got the polymer tip laying here at about 4.5, I guess that's about 4 3/4 inches. And zoom in here and take a good look at this. So here's what we've got. So this being an all copper bullet, we should not expect any fragments at all coming off of this. So we track right on down through here, and right here we're laying at about 20, I'm gonna call that 20 3/4. If I get the camera in here to where the parallax is out of it, you can see this is about 20 3/4 inches. So really nice performance out of this, really nice penetration. And we'll get this dug out later, but this looks like exactly what we would expect out of a Bear Creek Ballistics bullet, guys. So All right, let me go back and I'll put maybe 1 or 2 more in here, and we'll see what they look like. And that'll give us a baseline on the expansion to compare to, and a couple more velocities for our velocity average. All right, so very nice performance out of that. I'm fairly pleased with that. All right, 400 legend, 165 grain HV. Shot number 2. Well, I spoke too soon. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and put the third one in the backstop. I see a bucket down there. Let me put the camera out there on that. So kind of between the slow motion camera and the table, there's a green bucket sitting on the backstop. Let's see if we can hit this thing. Yeah, I think we got it. All right, we're clear. All right, guys. Let's take a look and see what we did here. So average velocity over 3 shots is 2536.8 with a standard deviation of 18.4 and a kinetic energy of 2376.3. I want to go in. Okay, so I've gone into the shot list, and it looks like shot 1 was 2511. That was the cold bore shot. The next 2 shots were 2552 and 2547. So about 40 foot per second slower with the first shot, and that's what gave us that 18 point whatever it was standard deviation on that. So once you get, and that was a clean barrel too, guys. So that first shot was a little bit of fouling, and it was a little bit of heat, and we saw a more consistent velocity between the second 2 shots. So keep in mind that, keep these out of the sunlight here, keep in mind that this is the factory loading at 2547, whatever the 2536, and once I get these bullets reloaded and come out here and shoot those with the downloads, you'll be able to take the velocity data from those slower loadings that I'm going to do and build a range chart with the factory velocity, and then go down that range chart, find the velocities that match the ones from my test, and that'll show you the expansion that you'll get out of this bullet at those distances downrange. Obviously, plus 10 feet. So because you've got to allow for this 10 yards of 30 feet. I mean, you've got to allow for this 10 yards up front when you calculate that downrange performance. So there will be some really good data coming up for this bullet later on once I get my second test done. So, all right, let me go out here and get this gel block cleaned up, and and then we'll take a look at the wound track from this second shot. All right, guys, so entry for the second shot was over here, almost identical wound track. I was trying to hit a little bit higher on this one, but with the scope that I have on that rifle, I was aiming almost at the top of the block and hitting that low just because the bullet's not had room to come up to the to match the line of sight. And I had that sighted in at 100 yards for deer season. So we've got a really similar wound track here on the back side of this. it might have opened up actually just a little bit quicker, maybe by a ½ inch on this one. And permanent wound channel was about the same distance. I can see the polymer tip back in here behind the other one. And our overall distance, guys, just a little bit less than the other one. We're looking at 20 1/4 to right at 20 1/2 inches down here. So I will get back. So my propane torch is out of fuel. Like I said, this is the first test I've done in 3 months. I grabbed everything off the shelf, and I apparently had used that and was a lot closer to being out. So by the time I got the gel block set up, got everything clarified the first time, I was about out of gas. When I get back to the shop, I will clean this up and have a better look at this wound track from the sides. Still got some dirt and grass and stuff here from being in the gravel that will get cleaned off as well. And I'll have these pulled out and have a closer look coming up here in just a minute as well. All right, you can see right here the entry, almost identical entries now, and nice big wound channel coming out through here. This thing's probably 2 inches tall, and all really similar performance. You can see the kind of lower and behind, you can see the first wound track and how they pretty much taper off at the same amount of time as well. So, you know, we had 20 3/4 and 20 1/4 inches of penetration with these. And right back here is that plastic tip on that. And I'm getting ready to dig that out as well. The recovered bullets here, they did weigh out actually just a little over 160 grains, and I'll get the weight on this polymer tip here when I get it dug out here in a minute as well. So, all right, guys, too much light to get the overhead view on this, but just a really nice performance out of this, and we'll take a closer look at it here in a few minutes. All right, guys, so here's a look at our results on this, and like I said out while we were looking at the gel block on the range, this is exactly what we would expect out of a Bear Creek Ballistics bullet as far as expansion goes back. They have got the copper alloy mix down to a science, and I'm sure it is exactly a science. I'm sure they did quite a bit of testing on this, because this is the copper mix that they use in a lot of their bullets. And unlike a lot of the other copper bullets that I've tested in 8.6 and several other calibers, these rarely, if ever, shed any of their weight. These petals fold back uniformly and evenly, but they never really let go of the base of the bullet. I know a lot of the Hornadies that I tested were horrible for having the petals just shear off about halfway back and causing the bullets to curve through the gel, and really made it hard to get catches with a lot of those bullets, the CX bullets that I tested. And but you don't see any of that with these Bear Creek ballistic bullets. So just a really fine example here. I will note that these bullets did weigh in just a little bit below 165. Actually, these bullets here, I think on the scales, these things weighed in at closer to, that's in my notes here, closer to 163 to 164 grains with the polymer tip. So the weight on these bullets actually came up a little bit lighter than 165. I took these bullets here, the reloading bullets, put them on the scale, and they were weighing in closer to 163.5, 163.8, in between that range. So about 1.5 grains light, even with the polymer tip. So, or not polymer, it's, yeah, it is polymer. It's not a ballistic tip, because Nosler owns the rights to ballistic tip, so they're a polymer tip. But anyway, so these did come out a little bit light, and having said that, the tip weighs 2.5 grains, and the weight on the recovered bullets here was 160.9 and 161.1, and so there was about a 3 to 4 tenths variance between these bullets here when I put them on the scale. But, you know, that's not enough to really make a huge difference in the shorter ranges that these bullets will be used at. So, all right, guys. So just a really great performance. I'm really looking forward to getting our other loading done, and slide these out of the way here and make some room. So here is here's the box of bullets that Bear Creek Ballistics also sent. And it comes with this handy little pickup tool to reach down in here and pull these out, because if not for that little tool, it would be almost impossible to grab these out of here without dumping the whole box. And of course, here is the Peterson brass that they sent as well. I have done some test loads with these back before deer season, and not with this bullet, but I actually used some of the Peterson brass to test some of the Winchester bullets that I had. So this will be coming up, the combination of Peterson brass and these 165 grain bullets. And like I said, I will be doing a download on these. I'll start out with what I get is nearly my max load, and then I'll drop probably in 2 to 3 grain powder increments and finish filling these up with some lint so I don't get a flashover. And I hope to be able to work the velocities from that 2,500 foot range. I'm hoping to be in the same range as the factory loads, and I hope to work these down all the way into possibly the 700 to 800 foot per second by doing these powder drops. And at least I would like to find the point at which these bullets quit expanding, and then be able to plot that on our range chart. So, all right, guys, that's it. So Bear Creek Ballistics 165 grain, all copper. These are the AR optimized bullets in 400 Legend, and this is a fairly new caliber. It's been out for a year or so, maybe a little bit longer than that, in response to the 350 Legend's popularity. 350 Legend is a caliber I hope to be able to pick up in the near future, and my mic's falling over here. And actually maybe do some side-by-side comparisons with these two calibers. I had a 350 Legend previously and let it go. The example I had was not a good example. I ended up with it in a trade. It was a Bear Creek Arsenal barrel, and it had some feeding issues. So whenever I actually get back into that caliber, it will be either in a single shot or an AR with a better manufactured barrel on it. But my draw for this caliber was the fact that I shoot a lot of 10 millimeter, and I know, well, at the 2,500 foot velocity range, a few of the bullets that I run in 10 millimeter will also lend themselves to being loaded in 400 Legend. Some of the thinner skin ones probably won't be able to stand that kind of velocity, but there will be some overlap there in these bullets, and I can also test some of these 10 millimeter bullets. And that's also coming up, guys. I've got a gel block test series coming up in 10 millimeter. I've already tested 4 previously. Since then, I've added a 16-inch barrel. I've also added a Glock 29, so I have a shorter barrel and a longer barrel compared to the 2 barrels I had in the first test. I may back up and redo those tests so we can see that complete range on those. But I think right now, ready to go, I have 10 or 11 other bullets already loaded in 10 millimeter, ready to go. The weather and this break I've had from YouTube has really put me behind schedule. I'm guessing I've got nearly 40 bullets in different calibers over here, either loaded or waiting to be loaded, all to be gel tested in 10 millimeter and some 357 mag, 458 SOCOM, more 4570 content, some more 50 Beowulf content, and I've got a few 9 millimeter, and of course these 400 Legends. I've got a couple of different bullets back here to test here as well. I've got a Nosler bullet and a Winchester soft point bullet along with these Bear Creek Ballistics. So, all right, guys, that's all coming up. So once again, if you've got any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments. Always glad to hear questions and have some feedback on these. If you're running 400 Legend and you've got any feedback on any of these bullets, or a bullet that you would like to see tested in the gel block, post that up. Like I said, I'm constantly collecting bullets for these. I picked up a few bullets today while I was out at one of the local stores. I picked up a couple of different SIG V crowns, one for 9 millimeter, one in 10 millimeter, and I also picked up a box of Nosler bullets in 10 millimeter that I can't remember which ones they were now, but Nosler bullets it was an older box, and Nosler only sells their handgun bullets now in boxes of 250, and so you're paying for, in effect, 10 to 15 bullets I would be using to do the test. So I have not bought very many of the Nosler bullets in 10 millimeter or 44 mag for that very reason. But I did find an older box. It was a box of 100, and it had a good price on it at a local shop. It was probably from some extra reloading components that somebody had sold into the store over there, and I picked those up and brought them home with me. So that will be a future test as well. So, all right, guys, as always, it's good to be back. And Matt from Kentucky Range Time, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.